Hello. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back. My name is Ola, coming to you live from my Empire Pro studios. And on this particular episode, we're going to be talking about the number one secret to creating cash. This is real estate wholesaling. We're going to have some fun talking about this. Before I move on forward, make sure that you grab this book. It's absolutely free. It's called Smart Real Estate Wholesaling, and you can find it at smartrealestatewholesaling.com. It's free. The PDF is free. It's available also in paperback like this, in audio and Kindle as well too. So just wanted to point that out really quickly, and also let you know that if you haven't joined us in the mastermind, it's only $10 a month right now. Eventually, the price, the join fee that we've waived will come back on. The join fee is $197, but we've waived it, so you could just come in. You start paying $10 per month, and you have access to the training you need to get started in real estate wholesaling. What is wholesaling? Okay, before we get into the number one secret to create cash, in case you stumble here by default, by mistake or something like that, wholesaling is basically the heart and the science of finding deeply discounted properties, okay, and then turning it for profit. Okay, very simple. Okay, you have to find deeply discounted property. There's a heart to it, there's a science to it. It's not an exact science, okay, but there's a few part of it that you get to get better the more you take advantage of this information. You just get better over and over, and then you become an expert at this. Okay, so that's the fun part about this game. How are you, sir? Mr. Lionel, not Lionel speaks. Thank you for joining me live. All right, so basically today I want to talk about the number one secret to creating cash, and I'm going to give you that answer right now, but there are three things attached to it that I'm going to share over the course of this session. Okay, if during the course of this session I see anything that makes sense to you, or you actually appreciate the topic already, please make sure you give me a thumbs up. I will really appreciate that. It helps me spread the word, and the more you engage, also either by way of commenting or clicking like or sharing the video, the more we're able to build the channel, and the more I'm encouraged, obviously, to keep coming back. I'm sorry that I missed yesterday. Well, I had a lot going on, so I couldn't make it here yesterday. But as I promised, I will try always to do as as much as three times a week at least. We started Central Jersey Real Estate Real Estate Investors Association, CJREA. Okay, we started here in Woodbridge. I mean, we launched it. So if you go to meetup.com, you find CJREA. If you're in the area, you can join us this evening. It's going to be from like 7 to 10. All right, I'm just going to be there hanging out. Okay, we hang out with network, and then we start growing the Meetup Association. All right, so let's talk about the number one secret to creating cash in creating cash. Honestly, the answer to that, I've always given you the answer, is basically value. Okay, but I'm going to use a two-word phrase today: is creating opportunities. Okay, creating opportunities. All right, creating opportunities not just for yourself but for others. Okay, if you want to make money in any game, real estate, anything like that, you have to ultimately get to the point of creating opportunities. This is something that I have to remind myself from time to time. There's been times that I fell apart myself just because of life in general. Things happen, and I wasn't in a position where I could think properly straight, or simply just life. You know, we have other things going on, we're not thinking straight. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to go write it down somewhere in the back of your office, somewhere, creating opportunities for others. That's essentially bringing value to the table for others. That's how you create cash. But I want to link all of that together right now when it comes to wholesale real estate. Okay. So, for example, you already know that we make money in wholesale real estate by finding discounted, deeply discounted properties. Okay, you're looking for properties at 50 cents on a dollar, 60 cents on a dollar, 20 cents on a dollar. I know that would be a jackpot day, right? But it happens, you know. And then you're looking to add some value to that property, put it back on the market, and sell it for a profit. That's very simply what we do. But maybe as a wholesaler, you're just looking to flip it without fixing it. I understand it, you know. But the truth of the matter is that making money in any game, period, building a business is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Okay, why is it not easy? it gets complicated because we're complicated beings. That's why. Okay, we're the type of people that have we have information in front of us, but we try to complicate it. It must be a little bit harder before it makes sense to us. But the truth is that the information itself is very simple. You simply get out here, you target a certain demographic of the market, typically people going through situations where they have to get rid of a property. It doesn't have to be a sad situation. It could just be somebody living out of state, right? And they're a tired landlord and they need to get rid of a property. Because you're busy marketing, you're actively marketing, you're on their radar, they give you a call or you call them and they say, yes, I'm willing to sell this house for $90,000. The house is actually worth $200,000. It needs about $10,000 worth of work. You put $10,000 in, you pay $90,000 for the house. Now you're making $80,000 profit. Or you simply don't want to sell it for 200. You put $90,000 in a contract, not necessarily cash yet, right? It's going to need $10,000 worth of work. You're charging an end buyer investor $10,000 for helping them find the deal. So you make $10,000. This person put in all the work and the money. They're up to $110,000 in cost. They're making $90,000 profit. So here's the deal. Here's where a lot of people get stuck. Unfortunately, the way I just explained it, even though yes, it's simple, it can get very hard. You know why? Because marketing is not easy. Okay. Never mind how many times people tell you drive for dollars, you just find the next deal. Okay. Marketing is not easy. Okay. You could drive around, write down all the addresses in the neighborhood, and then it's time to skip trace. And then majority of the numbers you come up is gonna be bad numbers, wrong numbers, or people are gonna curse you out for calling them to try to buy their house, wherever. Things are going to happen and life is going to happen and it's going to get tiring and you may feel like quitting on yourself. That would be a horrible mistake, but it's not new. Most people make that mistake. Okay. So, but again, the point I'm making here is that it's not easy, but it's simple. Okay. It's not easy, but it's simple. So now let's get down to creating cash. What you're going to find a lot of time is that as much as they say there are cash buyers everywhere, there are people looking to buy everywhere. It's not always true, okay? At least from a standpoint of how you feel about this business, it's not true, okay? Majority of people are cowards in the game and they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is, okay? So now, what does that have to do with the topic of today? If that's the case, maybe you should come up with a solution for that. How could you come up with a solution when you know that there are opportunities, there are comparables showing that there are properties selling in the neighborhood, but then you see all of these deals that people are trying to wholesale, but no one is picking up these properties. If you go to the number one wholesaler in your market, go to their list, you will see tons of houses with equity spreads, but nobody is paying for them. Okay, a couple of things could be happening. Okay, sometimes the numbers are too tight. So the investors, the cash investor guru who has been in the market for 30 years, basically don't have to buy such houses. They look for 20 cents on the dollar, and you will see them doing the meetups, doing the guruship and all that stuff. But they're just not, they're not interested. They are all they're interested, they don't have enough bandwidth to purchase all of the properties available, right? So what does that tell you? If you are noticing that there is tons of houses on the number one wholesaler in the game and nobody is buying, maybe it's time that you can come up with a solution for that. How about help the market bring more end buyers into the game? Now, people that buy from wholesalers are people looking to do what? People looking to make a profit, people looking to create a venture out of real estate, right? So those people, some of them are newbies. Okay, some of them just went through the $80,000 seminar and they're stuck. They don't know where to get started from, right? Or they're afraid to make that first move because, frankly, it's easy to get in trouble in real estate rehabs, right? There's always going to be some kind of surprise. That's why, for those of us that have been doing it for years, we know to put edges on our numbers. We know, like, if somebody told me the property is going to take $20,000 to repair, I'm going to put a 10% on it. That means $22,000 minimum, as far as I'm concerned, because there are going to be surprises, right? And everything and in between, right? So because of surprises, the people that do their first deal, usually their surprises it's not 10%. It's 10% for me because I have experience. For most newbies, that's going to be we're talking about 25, 30, 50%. extra money that they will spend that completely completely that's completely surprise. Okay, basically they didn't plan for it, they didn't budget for it. If you're ever driving about down the street and you see projects that somebody was building and they get stuck with it, you ever seen those before? That's somebody that run out of money. They found a surprise, they found a oil tank and there's leakage all over the place. I've heard of stories of people spending up to $400,000 or needing to spend $400,000 to clean up a oil tank situation, right? So there are things like that people get in trouble with because they're brand new, in the game. And so that may be a reason why people shy away from it, or that may be why some people are out of business. You know, things happen, you know. So now let's bring that back to how can you help in that situation, right? The point I'm making mainly is that it's not enough end buyers, cash buyers. It's not enough of them. Okay. It's not enough of them in any given market. Because how do I know? Because they're increasing amount of wholesalers bringing deals to the table, but of course they don't want to buy. They just want to make a quick profit and keep it moving. Some of them, I've heard the success stories of 50,000, 60,000, and it does happen. It happens. My highest is $82,000. But what I'm trying to tell you is that in a scenario where you see a ton of deals and you're just looking, maybe you can come to the table, come to the marketplace with buyers. Maybe you can build a buyers list for the marketplace. That's one way. That's number one way I want to share with you. You can become the expert in building the buyer list for the market. All right. Now, the step by step of doing all of that, I'm not going to cover that here. But again, essentially, is about education. You got to educate people about what it takes to make money in real estate. If you educate people, you become the market leader, you become the expert, and naturally, people will trust you. Not just because they want to trust you, because it makes sense for them to trust you because you know what you're talking about. All right. So that's that. Again, become the market leader. Basically, educate people and then bring them in as buyer for the wholesalers in the marketplace. It's a missing factor in the game. Most people come in, find deals, right? But most people come in, they find deals, but then they don't have people to buy them. They go to the meetups, they meet all the quote unquote cash buyers, but there's only so much they can buy, or I only buy in this part of town, or that number is too tight. Oh, you know what? The deal doesn't make sense. Well, if the deal doesn't make sense, maybe they're looking for 45% on the dollar, 40 cents on the dollar. Maybe a newbie doesn't mind 60 cents on the dollar. Maybe they don't mind 80 cents on the dollar. Maybe they're just looking to make their first $10,000. They make all their money back plus $10,000. They're a lot more easier to work with because they're not greedy. Okay. So greed is not a bad thing, but it's bad for your business now because you notice that the people that have longevity in the game, they have options. They don't have to buy your 35% spread. They have other ways of securing 60, 70 cents spread. They have cash. Okay. They can go to the auction house and pick up houses for 10 cents on a dollar, right? So let's bring it back to the number one way to create cash in the game. Find spots in the game that there's a very, very high need, okay? Where there's a need for end buyers in the game. The market is not saturated with wholesalers, but there's a lot of wholesalers. How do I know? Just post a property on Craigslist and see how many wholesalers that basically don't have cash or no intention to purchase themselves calling you. Okay. So that's an angle right there that you should start paying attention to. Where is something missing? What about if you can fill in that gap, right? What if you're willing to make a move and become a rehabber? There's a few wholesalers gurus out there that are basically saying that rehabbing, fix and flip is not pretty or it's not sexy. And you know what? Anything that's worthwhile is typically when it's time to put in effort, it's not sexy. Work is not necessarily sexy unless you've experienced the other side of the results that work can bring. And then obviously it becomes sexy because of the results. And then it works and you do it over and over again. But in the beginning, the graph is like this, or let me say like this, or like this, right? It's straight for 6 months, and then most people quit during that period, during the first 3 to 6 months, and then when it takes off, right? So that rough time, it can be a very difficult and trying times for most people. And most people, honestly, even most people that have paid 50, 60, $70,000 to learn this game, they quit, or they go quiet, or they become what you call there's a phrase I'm looking for. They go into some kind of witness protection. They go hide, okay, or they just keep looking at houses. They never make that first move. One of the things that I'm going to share with you that people never make in this game is the first move. Okay, it's very hard for people to make the first move. They will study, read everything, try to learn everything about the game, but never make the first move. Why? It's not their fault, really. It's just difficult. Okay, it's difficult. So that angle right there, again, you want to create opportunities, right? You want to create cash. Be the first one making moves. Okay, be the first one pulling triggers. Of course, you want to take calculated risk, right? Okay, be the first one to quantify the risk involved, right? Because every risk, you can assess every risk, and you can put them on numbers, and you can put edges around your numbers to protect you against the potential risk in the game. Be the one to come up with a formula that will help you protect yourself against the risk. When you make that first move, you're going to learn some new lessons. Turn it to numbers. Okay, just turn it to numbers, turn it, quantify it, and make it something that other people can use over and over again. And you being able to turn that to a system is part of creating opportunities for others. Does that make sense? Let me see here. Lana says, so it is wiser to fix and flip rather than wholesale. I didn't say that. It is wiser to find where the opportunities are and fill that gap. Okay. Don't shy away from difficult things, because everything is difficult. Wholesale is actually difficult for most people. Okay. Contrary to popular beliefs, people think it's fast cash. No, it's also a great way to stay dormant and never make money in the game. There's a lot of people roaming around YouTube University that will never make a dime because they don't want to take that leap of faith to go do fix and flip, right? And fix and flip, you can say, but I need cash. Well, you could use other people's cash, okay? Just come up with the formula, learn learn the game, come up with, obviously you want to learn the game, right? You want to master the game and be the one to make the first moves. Those are the three steps, right? Learn the game, okay? Master the game. Mastery means you have to surround yourself with it. Go work for somebody. Go spend some time. Not consistently, just ask to come around so you can help around the office of one of the gurus in your neighborhood that's the big investor, right? And basically offer to be around for a day. You help grab a few things here and there. You learn the game, or become acquisition manager for some of these guys, and then you learn the game. That's one of the best way for you to learn the game. Acquisition manager simply means you're making 100% uh, uh, commissions, right? But you're not making salary, okay? But you learn the game. But you're able to, hey, if you need anybody to help you monitor a rehab project, you want somebody to help you supervise a rehab project, I'm open. I'll go take a look. Maybe you're out of town or something, you need somebody to go there, I'll take a look. When you go around the project, you learn. So don't be a wholesaler that's hiding inside behind the computer trying to make money from home. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that if you have more time than you have money at this time, then it's simply that's a cue for you to step up your game, find other places, other gaps in the business that you can fill. It goes everywhere from obviously acquisition to selling the property to flipping the property or getting it rented. So you can basically be a realtor. You can be you can also be a property manager for people who decides to buy and rent to hold, right? There's all types of opportunities. Again, the key thing is to create opportunities for others in the game, and then you will create cash indirectly and directly. Indirectly, because you're around the game and you would discover things that you probably will not discover from textbooks, okay? But I'm giving you some hints right now. But directly, because obviously when you're exposed to the business, you make a lot more money. I know somebody who said, listen, when he started as an agent, okay, as an agent, a real estate agent, he just basically made himself available for what do you call them, open houses on Sundays. Nobody wants to work on Sundays or go show houses on Sunday. Some people want to go to church and stuff like that, but he made it a sacrifice for like 3 to 6 months to say, hey, if you need somebody to sit down at the open houses and show people houses on Sundays, so Number one, before you can do that, you need to be licensed. Okay, what does it take to get licensed? A few weeks, you get licensed. License can only help your career in real estate. It doesn't hurt it. It never hurts it. Okay. Again, if you have more time than you have money, I'm only speaking to you. If you're already doing well, maybe this doesn't apply to you. Okay. So you're already a wholesaler. You understand the wholesaling game. It's time to add one little thing to your game. Okay. And then start showing houses. What you're gonna find is that people will come through the door, and that list that people write down their name, their email address, and phone number when they walk into the house, that becomes part of your contact database. Plus, many of them may not have any agent representing them, and then you become a person that represents them, right? Does that stop you from wholesaling? Absolutely not. Again, what I'm saying to you is that don't lock your brains up. Keep an open mind when you're approaching this game. Keep an open mind, okay? And if you have more time than you have money, then look at other things going on, provided you're consistent with the other things you already have going on. If you're a marketer and you're marketing and wholesaling, just make sure you're consistent on that. If you feel like there's too many gaps in your time and you want to make some money, look at other opportunities in the game. And opportunities means it's a problem. Okay, opportunities shows up as a problem first. Fill the gap, turn it to an opportunity for other people. That means make other people's life easier. Okay, and by default, you're going to be around the game a lot more. They're going to like you a little bit more. People have to know, like, and trust you before they can indirectly or directly get money into your pocket, right? Same thing goes for customers, right? So that's what I'm simply trying to tell you here. If you want to create cash, you create opportunities. If you want to create opportunities, you have to find problems and solve them. Okay. If the problem is that there's not enough cash buyers and buyers in the game, come up. First of all, you can become an end buyer. You can become a sponsor of end buyers, meaning you can consolidate, you can facilitate end buyers, you can facilitate partnerships, right? And you can focus on managing projects. If you notice that people that will probably buy don't have time to monitor projects, become the person that solved that problem. Come up to the table with the person that will fill that gap for them. If they're lacking time, they're lacking skills, experience, right? Whatever it is they're lacking, right? Come to the table with the solution, and then you win the game. It's that simple. Okay. And that's the number one way to create cash in the game. So now let's take it backwards a little bit. Okay. Um, let's see here. Somebody, Dahlia Ali says, would you recommend JVs for newbies until you grow your cash buyers list? I recommend JV always. At any moment in time, you should be open to JV. So JV can comes in multiple different ways. If you don't know what JV means, it stands for joint venture, right? Joint venture, uh, you could be doing joint venture with people based on your time or based on money, right? Or it could simply be your credit. If you have a good credit score, right, you could partner with other people to do deals, right? The key thing to understand here is that building a list, in your question, building a list is an evergreen thing you have to keep doing. There's no end to building your cash buyer list. I understand some people are recommending make sure you have 75, make sure you have 200 on your list. There's no limit to that. Two people on your list can mean 2,000 people. Remember that, okay? Because one of them could know 2,000, right? And the other knows 500. So that two people, you should never underestimate it. So with that being said, don't wait until you build cash buyer list to a certain threshold that some guru said. Don't wait until you open yourself up for joint venture. So when you say joint venture, it's kind of broad. It depends on what kind of joint venture it is, right? But there's nothing stopping you from doing joint venture over and over and over again in any aspect where you know for a fact that you can bring value to the table. The idea of a joint venture is that you're bringing some kind of value to the table. So for example, if you have a deal and you found a deal, then you could joint venture with somebody who already has a bigger list to get rid of the deal. So you guys can keep profit. You make 50% of that, they make 50% of that. Some people do 60-40, 70-30, 50-50 split. Okay. I do that all day long. I do joint venture with you. You brought the deal. I found the buyer. We make money together. Okay. You brought value because you brought the deal. Now, if you want to joint venture and do a joint venture on rehab, that's joint venture for rehab. So honestly, as long as you know that you have the value to bring into the joint venture, then you're always ready to do joint venture. Obviously, if you don't have the value to bring, then you don't have the value you're bringing. Could be cash. It could just, you have the cash to do the deal, and you want to do the deal, with the person that brought the deal that doesn't necessarily have the cash, or they have a smaller portion of the cash, right? As long as you have the value to bring into the joint venture, you're always ready for that. Okay. So let's go back again. We're talking about number one way to create cash in real estate wholesaling. Wholesaling real estate, I had a video that I did like 18 months ago or 2 years ago called Real Estate Wholesaling is Dead. The point of that video was to open people's eyes to the numerous opportunities that exist beyond just the definition of wholesale real estate. Okay. Wholesale real estate means you find deals, deeply discounted deals, the art and science of finding deeply discounted deals, right? But turning it to profit. Maybe you look at it and you say, you know what? I don't want to be calling people, cold calling people. I don't want to drive for dollars. I don't want to send direct mail. You know what? There's tons of deals on the market already. Let me be the expert in finding buyers for these deals, right? So now when it comes to finding buyers for the deals, that doesn't mean pick up the phone and call people and say, hey, can I put your house under contract, or can I sign a JV contract? No, because for most savvy wholesalers, they're going to say no. Just bring your buyer and then we'll talk. And you must respect that, because again, at least from their standpoint or what they can see, they don't see what value you're bringing to the table if you're making them sign a paper before you bring your cash. Agents don't do that. Agents that bring cash to you basically say, hey, can I see the property? They show it and then they send an offer in because there's a real buyer. So again, if you don't have an actual buyer to bring to the table yet, don't just call other wholesalers about their property, because essentially you don't have value to bring. Essentially, you're going to waste their time too, and most people, at least that are savvy, can smell that from miles away. They can smell if you know what you're talking about, or they can smell it, and if they smell it, even if they're not accurate, they'll rather save themselves time, and that doesn't help you. So I always say, the best way, let me use the last 3 minutes here to share with you one more time the best when it comes to cash buyers list. You can bring cash buyer list, or you can become one of the buyers in the game, and you can start off that way. You could do your first 3 deals, it could be fix and flip, and you can decide to roll off into just purely 100% wholesaling later. That's completely up to you, and honestly, it depends on what makes life easier for you over time. Sometimes you found that you started as a wholesaler, but you end up being a fix and flip person and you enjoy it, right? Sometimes vice versa, right? So this is the way you do it. In order to build your cash buyer list and buyers list, I want you to treat everyone equal. Number one, have your expectation is zero on any one individual, but yet you understand that any one of them can mean $1 million to you. Okay, so treat everyone equal. Don't prejudge people. Somebody want to get on your bias list and you feel like, oh, they look ratchet, they ride a hoopty. Don't do that. Don't prejudge people, because you never know who people know. Get anybody interested in your education about real estate investing, get them on your list. Create educational pieces from your own education that you're learning. Watch videos on this YouTube channel and create write-ups from them, and create your own educational pieces and share that on your wall on Facebook. You can share it on your wall on your Facebook. You can even share with the link, but people will start attaching you to the expert in the game. Okay, you're not just calling yourself an expert like a clown. No, what you're doing is you're actually an expert for being a student of the game. And when you do that over and over, you do it consistently long enough, people will ask you questions, and those people are the type of people you can say, hey, partner with me, let's do a deal together. Hey, partner with me, let's do a rehab deal together. And for all you know, that may be your first deal ever, and you may do it successfully, may actually enjoy it, and just say, you know what, I just want to do fix and flip. And you may detect something, you may learn something from that. You may find out that, oh wow, I can just partner with people, and then as I partner with them, I make them some money, I build my own resources. Again, creating opportunities for others is the number one secret to creating cash in wholesale real estate. You want to keep an open mind about the definition of wholesale real estate by itself. Of course, the idea is finding deeply discounted properties. But in the meanwhile, if that's too hard for you, if you run out of cash or you don't have the resources to do that exactly that way it is, learn the game. master it. Okay, find a gap where there's a problem and fill it. I'm telling you right now, a major problem in the wholesaling industry is people are finding deals and there are no buyers to buy them, and people are waiting for cash buyers. See, cash buyers or not, what you're looking for is an end buyer that can actually close a deal. You may be one of them. You may be the one to facilitate it. You may be a partner to a deal. Okay, what does it take to close to finish a fix and flip rehab? Some people take 60 days, 30 days, 90 days. Some people it's just a hotel situation, meaning they just somebody said put a lipstick on a house and sell it for a profit. Again, solve problems and you're gonna be just fine. So if I said anything that made sense in this video, please make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure it lights blue. Okay. The book, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, is available for free. Smartrealestatewholesaling.com. That's where you go. And it's available in audio, Kindle, and paper as well. Join us in the mastermind. The At this point in time, the join fee is waived, $197. You just pay the monthly, which is $10. So go ahead and join if you haven't joined that, so you can get started uh, to start bringing leads, deals to the table. All right, and I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you're watching me, you have any questions, I can hang around for another 30 seconds. If I see a question, I'll answer it. After 30 seconds, I may have to move on to go do some other things. All right, so I'm gonna wait for 30 seconds, and while I wait, if you have any questions, we'll take it from there. Let's see. Mm, all right, yeah. So speaking of, ask some questions here. All right, yeah. I think that's it. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.